I am honored to talk to Karthik here from Milwaukee Tool as we continue to explore different businesses right here in our backyard of southeastern Wisconsin. Milwaukee Tool is one of the people that are a big player in the market. So, Karthik, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you for the opportunity.
So, the first question I want to ask you, tell us a little bit more about who is Milwaukee Tool on a regional stage, national stage, and even potentially a worldwide stage.
So, Milwaukee, we are one of the biggest power tool companies in the world. In fact, I'd probably go to the extent of saying the biggest. So we are, as a company, as you know, 1924 is when we started. So the journey for Milwaukee Tool started in 1924. And then, they were doing well with a lot of AC tools. And as you know, throughout in our times when the recession happened around the 2008-9 timeframe, that's kind of when the new leadership came in. They wanted to pivot, and then we started exploring. We were one of the first folks to explore batteries and tools, so that we could go from corded to cordless tools, and that explored, and we expanded our market. So to give you a sense. We have gone from about, in the Brookfield area, we've gone about 200, 250 employees 6-7 years ago to now about 2,000 or 3,000 employees. And our expansion has been is phenomenal because, we are at the Milwaukee or the Brookfield location, which is our headquarters. And you probably heard of this in the news as well. We bought out space in Menominee Falls now, and all the other places as well, because we don't have enough space for people to come in. So so even if we did go back to working not remotely and working, in the building, I don't think we're able to right now because we have so many people, and that tells you the expansion we've had. And as a company, we are headquartered in Brookfield, but then we have manufacturing. Also here, and then in West Allis, and then in Mississippi, and of course internationally in PRC in Vietnam. So they have manufacturing everywhere. Distribution and service locations are located throughout the country. I mean, we have so many service locations here, and so many managers take care of different pieces of that. And of course, now we are increasing our presence in EMEA, Asia, everywhere else as well. And you will see a lot more of our tools coming up. And interestingly, you asked me this question recently. One of our vendors out in Europe had sent us a few pictures saying how a few of the buildings and a few of the other winter snow courses were using a ton of Milwaukee Tool tools. So I know we're getting up there as well.
I know it's really cool. And you mentioned a couple times, you just talked about the headquarters is right here in Brookfield, Wisconsin for Milwaukee Tools. And you talked about that growth and that expansion, and now you're nationally and worldwide, and you have all those other opportunities that are there. And one of the reasons I am so glad that you're able to speak with me today is, we want to just kind of open our students' eyes and our community's eyes about great opportunities that are here in Wisconsin and the amazing jobs that can be here with partners such as Milwaukee Tools. So thank you. I'm excited just listening to you talk and hearing from what you said, like 300 employees to like 2,000 employees.
That's huge. Actually, as we speak, the number might be even 3,000. I don't know, because we have about. To be honest, Jim, we have about close to somewhere from 800 to 1,000 positions open. Okay, and a big chunk. The goal the HR team had was by the end of 2023 or 2024, they want to fill all these positions, and I can tell you that they won't be. Probably they will, but there's so much more positions have come up already. So it's like. When we started this, right after the pandemic, when a lot of the companies across the area and across the country, were like kind of going back in their shell, we kind of expanded, and the job opportunities in Milwaukee Tool just went up. Remotely, I can tell you, my team personally, in our firmware group, We have at least onboarded 20, 30, or maybe even 40 people. We haven't even seen them because they're all onboarded remotely, because we need people.
That's awesome that you guys would be proactive and moving forward. And as you're onboarding these 20 or 30 people and you have all this growth, it kind of leads us right into my next question for you. So, what types of jobs does Milwaukee Tool support? I've heard you say manufacturing, you've said HR now, you said you're
Right.
growing exponentially. So, as a young student exploring career paths and maybe they fall in love with Milwaukee Tool and want to work for you, what types of jobs, could they potentially be seeking, pursuing, or preparing for?
Right. So there's a wide variety there, and the good thing is we are expanding everywhere. So it's not just one area versus the other. So based on where the students are in their careers and what their interests are. So let's say, for example, someone likes sales, right? So they want to do business development. So there's a huge potential area for sales. And then we have marketing, of course, because as our marketing campaigns are, I mean, they get so creative, man. It's just, and in some other places, when we go to some schools and some universities and stuff like that, people really like the way we, some of the folks take over the marketing folks, and of course finance. And with expansion comes finance. So you're not only talking at that point sitting in Brookfield, you're controlling finances across the world, like what happens here, what happens there, what's going on in Europe and Asia, like it's just exciting time to be, in Brookfield, but global, and this company is giving you the opportunity to do that in all these facets. And that brings to this supply chain and logistics, right? So that's a whole other field. How are you going to get the tools in place in Brookfield, and how are you going to send it to different customers, not only in Brookfield, across the country, across the world, and how are you going to collaborate? I don't know, someone from, imagine this, someone from Germany could say, hey, I need, I don't know, 1 million tools tomorrow. That's a challenge. As a person who's a professional, once you come into the company, once you start working at more responsibilities, you want stuff like this. You want these challenges, and you will always constantly be faced with these challenges, which will only make you better, right? And of course, HR. Like I said, we need to hire 1,000 people. I know they're not going to be able to. HR needs to hire for them first, and then hire for the rest of the company. So we have that, and of course, talent acquisition becomes a big thing because we are looking for from early career, all the way from internships to like mid-level, senior level jobs. So talent acquisition, that's a growing field as well, and training. So training people on the tools, training people on the technical side of things and stuff like that. So that's another thing. Now, for people or students who would like to, I don't know, you would have thought about yourself as becoming a teacher at some point, right? The same kind of thing could apply here as well. And I kept the last thing because it's close to my heart. It's engineering. Engineering, man, you got everything. We're working on everything from machine learning, IoT, to the actual tool, the motor control, the battery. You have the whole spectrum of computer and electrical engineering. Who would have thought? When I'm asking you this, you tell me, you would think an Amazon or a Microsoft or someone will work on cloud technologies, will work on stuff, right? Milwaukee Tool does that. So it's just exciting.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And Karthik, like I'm just listening to you talk at HR, financing, manufacturing, engineering, saving the best for last, right? And it's like almost safe to say that Milwaukee Tool potentially can support a career in almost any of the career clusters out there. And you just have so many opportunities for people to kind of explore and grow. I think what's just unique about working for a company potential like that is the opportunity for growth. And that kind of leads me to my next question for you here is, so what types of level of education or experience do people need to work at Milwaukee Tool? Are there entry level jobs where they can graduate and get right out of high school? Do they need a 2-year degree, a 4-year degree? Do they need 5 years experience? What would someone need to start working for Milwaukee Tool?
Your question is layered in the sense that you have all the way from, depending on where they want to go in their careers. So assuming the students are already in tune to, let's say, go get a college degree, like bachelor's would get you into any of these fields, I would think. So a bachelor's degree would get you into, of course, in a bachelor's in business probably would be like, sales and marketing, and probably something in finance and accounting, you could do with a bachelor's over there. And then, of course, engineering bachelor's can get you into all the industrial engineering, chemical engineering, battery engineering, electrical engineering. There's so many engineering opportunities, of course, because, we're a powerful company which is developing firmware and hardware all the time. I mean, we keep our customers because we give them the greatest and the latest features on our tools, right? So that's always going to be there. And to your question about there have been cases here in our company for people who are working here. We have a phenomenal educational support program. So people who are here already, so let's say, if you want to get your master's degree, or if you want to get your MBA, or if you want to get something else, the incentives, Milwaukee Tool pays 100%. So once you get in to upskill and to, even if you want to pivot anywhere else in the company, so let's say you came in as an engineer, or if you came in as someone else, but then you want to do something else, you have the opportunity and, of course, education to go along with it, and you could potentially, get paid to do a master's for free. As long as you're good at it.
Now you're making money and getting a degree paid for. That's awesome.
I mean, it's one of those things where Milwaukee Tool is really, and it's all about one of our culture pillars is never settle, keep improving. Be it the product, be it yourself. It doesn't matter. You probably, this is cliche, you'd have heard this, even if you make a 0.01% change every day, that leads to 37% change by the end of the year. Just a 0.01% change. So, it could be anything.
Great point. Does a little bit of change adds up over time. That's awesome. What's the culture like working for Milwaukee Tool?
Oh man, it's just so I'm going to tell you honestly, I've worked at a couple other companies prior to here. So I came in here as a senior engineer. I didn't start right out of school. So when I say this, I can tell you with prior knowledge of how my old companies were. It's just this company, it's just the culture is just phenomenal. I mean, the way they have it laid out, in the sense that we have, if you want to call it, I don't want to use the word pillars, but we have like 4 or 5 really solid points, which I think I don't want to elaborate too much on it, but I'll give you the highlights. So the first one is candid. You got to be candid. What does that mean? Is in the company, no one is afraid to speak up. You always want, everyone wants to be right? But then you have your blind sides. Sometimes, I've been in other places where people may or may not bring up certain things during a meeting or whatever it might be, because it's like, I don't know, will they feel bad? Or it's like, I don't know, here it's like, okay, you did a mistake, so what? Just we'll fix it, we'll go forward. You're not going to be penalized for bringing something because you're like, hey, I think this could be a problem, do we want to do this? They would rather you bring it up, and they encourage you to be candid. Which I think is phenomenal, because you're not like Edison said, he did not fail 1,000 times. He learned how to make a bulb 1,000 times, right? He did not fail. So it's okay to fail fast. That's it, So then you're like, you learn from it, and then you don't make it because you're making notes so someone else will not do it. So, as long as only 1 or 2 people in the company fail and the rest learn, that's a win already, right? So I really love that aspect of this company, the candid piece. And of course, they're really obsessed with like high performance, in the sense that, be it personal, like I mentioned to you in the previous section, be it personal or professional, you want to be your best. What can you do? And how do you keep improving relentlessly? Never settle, keep improving. And then one of the other things I really love is the speed. So it's like it's kind of like, if you think about it, it's not that The decision making is not only the CEO or only the president. Anyone. I mean, even an intern has decision making abilities. Of course, with the knowledge they will have for that role, but even them, they will empower them to become leaders. It's like you are empowered so that you could make decisions right then and there to move the project forward. It doesn't, and that's the best thing. Be it an intern or a senior, even a CEO, it doesn't matter. All of them have the same culture expectations, which I think is phenomenal.
That's awesome too. And again, just listen to your passion talk and to our students who are looking for career decisions or trying to make those informed decisions for next steps. Like that's awesome that you work for a company that empowers you to be your best, to learn from mistakes, to grow and keep going there. And that is, like you said, you have experience working from other companies. Not all companies are like that. I've worked with different organizations in the past too, and they aren't like that. Part of the reason I like working where I'm at is we do learn and strive to be the best, just like Milwaukee Tool. So it's awesome. With Milwaukee Tool, with the careers and the jobs, as we're trying to kind of keep our workforce talent in the state of Wisconsin here, what types of pay ranges could people expect to see working from Milwaukee Tool? And from a low end all the way up to possibly the top end.
Yeah, one thing I can tell you off the bat, again, this comes from my personal experience of having worked at other places, is it's almost industry leading. I can tell you that much. The compensation is very, very, like, very highly competitive. A very highly competitive wage, and like I said, we're paying as much as anyone in the area, if not more. and from a pay range standpoint, of course, as you would imagine, there's a lot of variables, right? I mean, what position you come into, what is your experience, and where do you want to go, and and all that stuff becomes a part of that. But I'm confident that we will meet or beat anyone in the area from a salary standpoint.
No, that's a great way to say it, that you will meet or beat anyone. And then you couple that with your culture and the passion and the stuff that you do. That becomes kind of in my opinion, a desirable workplace to work for. So, Karthik, last question I have for you. So we're reaching out to our students and our community in that. Last plug for Milwaukee Tool. Why is this a potentially destination workplace for future graduates and students?
All right. Well, to all the students, one thing I will definitely tell you, forget Milwaukee Tool, but as a student, when you're coming back, if I go back and look at my career, it is important to go and work at any place which gives you the opportunity to keep learning and keep improving yourself. And one of the biggest things I think Milwaukee Tool has to offer is two things. One is we are growing exponentially. I mean, the growth is unheard of. One of the numbers I want to throw at you, you can go back and Google this. Year over year, Milwaukee Tool has experienced 20% growth. So we went from a $500 million company to almost $6 billion company in just 10 years. And this has been on the back of so much of disruptive innovation. And as students, when you come out, not only do you have to want to learn, the second thing, so one is exponential growth. The second thing is the opportunity to learn and grow and innovate. So people will constantly challenge you to come up with something better, something creative. So you're not, if you compare this to any other job there might be, your job is not just to come in and punch numbers and, yeah, okay, yeah, I did a job. No, they will challenge you to say, okay, what else have you got? What can you think? How can you be more creative? So I think those two things would put you in good stead. I'm pretty positive you will probably not want to leave Milwaukee Tool, but even if you did, the place will upskill you so much that even if you did want to go somewhere else, someone else will be wanting you because you have, from where you started, you would have learned so much, you'd have contributed so much, you'd have provided so much value. So I think Milwaukee Tool will give you this opportunity to come and grow with the company, grow yourself, and I can tell you, I cannot for the next 3 to 5 years. I think we're going to be hiring. That's how many positions that are right now and that are going to be. So I think now is a good time to get on this bandwagon if you can.
That's a great point. And just listening to you talk today, and I'm glad you can come on here. It's just exciting to know that Milwaukee Tools worldwide headquarters is right here in our backyard, and there's these opportunities that are here for our students. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I look to talking to you in 2-3 years. I want to hear the growth numbers in the future.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity.